I wish I had learned this truth many years ago. Be thankful for the days, good and bad.
All right, welcome to another episode of Warrior versus Zombie, and man, am I excited today. I got another amazing warrior, and one that jumped on board very quickly with a movement of another guest, but I'll tell you what, if I'd have known she was going to be here, I would have jumped in right away and said, Orly, you can do it. So Orly Amor, we're going to talk about her in 1 second, but first I want to tell you a little bit, if you haven't joined us before, what Warrior versus Zombie is all about. Success is a journey. It's not a destination. As warriors, we all have a history of ups and downs, wins and losses that are all part of making us who we are up to this point, and they provide a foundation for our path forward. We all battle our inner zombie, as well as those zombies in our world, and in each episode, I interview warriors who are aspiring leaders from all walks of life, entrepreneurs, artists, health practitioners, business owners, coaches, speakers, you name it, any inspired leader that has a story to tell. Those warriors have a cause, unique value, and a vision that goes generations into the future. And today's guest is absolutely no exception. Orly Amor is an amazing warrior. She's a successful entrepreneur who has started 5 companies, amazing in and of itself. As a corporate trainer, best-selling author, and international public speaker, she has helped over 200,000 people around the world maximize their bottom line by tripling, quadrupling their sales. Her extensive experience as a certified behavior analyst has made her indispensable, as a coach. So many influential corporations around the world and North America are using her services. She's a great public speaker herself, networker, and for the past 10 years, she has helped public speakers create their business model for public speaking. Her unique value is enabling speakers to monetize their craft by what she calls business in a box for public speakers. Orly's book, Public Speakers, You're Not All That, 12 Reasons Why Event Planners Won't Hire You, became an instant bestseller, and now Orly speaks in 3 languages, which is just amazing to me. I can barely speak in English, as you've noticed from this introduction, but she speaks fluently, and she's earned her MBA and Law Degree, and despite all the impressive education and success as a businesswoman, Orly is, as I can attest to from our brief conversation, humble, authentic, and a very engaging speaker. So, Orly Amor, welcome to Warrior versus Zombie. I know you're in transit. How's your world today?
It's great. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. Thank you for having me.
I heard you're out in the desert somewhere. So again, I'm excited that we're able to conduct this interview while you're in transit. So
you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, I'm in the Dallas area, and it's actually getting cold here. I think they hit the high today at 59 degrees, and the temperature is heading down right now. So where are you headed to right now? I think you said New Mexico?
Yes, I am in I was visiting a friend in El Paso. We're going to just have a nice day in New Mexico and come back later on today. Just a nice day out, relaxing.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you're having a relaxing day, and I really, again, appreciate you joining us here on Warrior versus Zombie. And what we'll do right now is let's just take a quick break and hear a little bit of our theme song, It's Not the Getting There, with Ricky Jean Wright. And we'll be right back, and I want to hear your story when we come back, Orly, with Warrior versus Zombie.
But the miles become the teacher while the student learns real slow, traveling blind most of the time. Wherever you go, it's not the getting there, it's the journey every day. It's not
All right,
a
we're
race
back.
to see.
And Orly, that was a quick break for those on the live audience, but and for the audio audience, I hope you enjoyed that little bit of Ricky Jean Wright, and you'll hear a little more as we go. But so as I said before we took the break, tell us about your story. How did you get from where you started to where you are today?
I really like telling this story because I think many people, especially entrepreneurs, always feel that they can't make it or can't do it or don't want to share their vulnerability. So a long time ago, I was in property management. I was for 25 years, I did property management in Canada and the United States. And it's been a beautiful journey. But one day, one of my girlfriends asked me to speak at a women's shelter. And I said, well, what do you want me to speak about at a women's shelter? And she said, well, I want you to tell your story. And I said, oh, no, that's never going to happen, right? And she insisted. And I don't know about you, if you ever had an annoying friend. She was a very annoying friend. She was one of those who called every day for 3 weeks saying, are you going to do it? Are you going to do it? Well, after 3 weeks, I basically just asked her the question, why me? Why do you want me to come and speak? I mean, there's other people that speak about those subject matters. And she said, well, you have such a bubbly personality. You're like a social butterfly. Everywhere we go, everybody hugs you. People who don't even know you hug you. And I want you to come and tell your story so you can give these women hope. You're living a lifestyle that most people dream about. So come and talk. And I said, okay, what is it going to take to get you off my phone? It's more like I still did not want to do it, right? And she said, well, for you to say yes. And I'm like, oh, shoot, right? She's going to just continue her persistence. So long story short, fast forward, I am 3 months later, I hired a coach to help me with this. My first motivational speech. I've never spoken before on that topic. I was in property management and I was speaking in the world of public speaking. I was still in property management. So I go there and it's 3 months later. Here I am in front of a crowd of about 170 people, give or take, right? And I speak, tell my story. And after I was done, and I will tell you my story in a second, but after I was done, I got off the stage and there was not one dry eye in the place. So when I got off the stage, something very weird happened to me as a speaker. And that was people coming to me and saying, thank you for sharing. Thank you for giving me hope. And I just was very overwhelmed with that feeling of, wow, there's some love there, right? In property management, when I got off the stage, it was never that. It was more like, Miss Amor, we have a problem with our board of directors. It was never something good. And so, as people were coming to me, there was one lady specifically that came and she was crying profusely. And I told her to calm down and she said, no, you don't understand. I said, no, I do understand, sweetheart. We need you to talk, to calm down. She's like, no, you don't understand. And we went back and forth quite a while. And a lot of people were like kind of tuning in and getting quiet to see what's going on when she yelled at me, no, you don't understand. And then she took a piece of paper out of her pocket and she pointed at it and she just said, see, this is how I was going to kill myself this morning. In fact, I don't even remember driving from my house to the shelter. You see, because she was showing me that that's not where she was going. And then she said, but I heard you speak and I want to live. I just need you to show me how. And I'll tell you, Robert, I broke down crying. I couldn't hold it together anymore. By the way, first motivational speech, just so we understand how stressful it was as is. And then here I am. And in my head, it wasn't like, wow, this is cool. It was more like, wow, I just saved somebody's life. So I'll give you my story really quickly. I was a beaten up child. I was molested 4 times before the age of 14. I was raped 3 times before the age of 22, twice gang raped, 9 months apart, left for dead. I was also married to a very abusive husband, both mentally and physically. And as a result of that, I had 4 abortions and I gained a morbid amount of weight. I was 428 pounds at my heaviest. So with all that, I still went through school, paid for everything, got my MBA and Law Degree without student loans or student debt. I held on 3 jobs while I was doing all that. So I understand when we come from a place of, vulnerability where we don't want to share our story. My head was like, no, I need to share my story. So that story is in both of my books, Public Speakers, You're Not All That, and The Mindset Mastery, 12 Powers We Hold Within. Those are the two books that I wrote, but the story is in both of them for a reason.
Wow. I got to tell you, it's always amazing to me, and this is episode 63, and it doesn't matter which warriors we talk to, everybody has their story, and it's so incredible to me. And it's just so inspiring to me to hear the warriors talk about the things that they've been through, the zombies that they've encountered and overcome, and they're still focused forward. We tend to minimize it as warriors because obviously we're focused forward. And so telling that story often is difficult. But we're all on a journey, right? And we're all there. And so the inspiration, the fact that you were able to deliver your story and have that kind of impact the first time you were asked outside of the corporate world. By the way, I have a corporate background, so I've spoken to hundreds of thousands of people in that event, and it's quite different, right? It's quite different than when you're doing what you just described. And the fact that you, I just can't even imagine the things that you've overcome. But as I always say, I'm a Christian, by the way, and so God has given me the strength to deal with the things that he puts in my path if I just allow him to do that. So it's an amazing, amazing story that you have. Wow. I hardly even know what to say.
So, this is one story. And like you said, everybody has one. And so sometimes I'm actually reluctant of sharing that story, but then I remember that story. Makes sense because of what happened. You don't know whose life you're going to change. So it's good to share your story. Actually, my TEDx coming up is about not taking your story to the grave. It's really important because you don't know. In the act of sharing, there's contribution. You just don't know whose life you're going to save, really. And in my journey to here, I have another short story for you. Would you like to hear it?
Absolutely.
So as a public speaker, I traveled the world, and I am 27 countries, 18 states so far. And, I'm always amazed and impressed by the people I meet. I mean, here in America, we take things for granted sometimes, and we need to travel more to see what's going on in the world. But as a result of travel, I was traveling, speaking, and then I ended up actually in Arlington, Texas at a conference. And this was in June 2010. And the funny part was that I was arriving from a European tour. So I was already exhausted at this convention. And do we have a couple of minutes? I just want to make sure I'm respectful of time.
Oh, yeah. You're great.
Awesome.
I definitely want to hear your story. This is important.
So here I am at this convention, and I'm in the break room for speakers. And these three guys come over to me. Now that you know my story, you understand that them coming over towards me was a little creepy, right? I'm just letting you know how I was feeling at that moment. And so here they are coming to me, and one of them says, "Aren't you Orly Amor?" I said, "Yeah, do I know you?" "I'm sorry, I don't remember." And one of them said, No, we've never met before, but we've seen you on the circuit. And in my head, I was like, wait a minute, I'm a corporate speaker, so I don't know how they saw me on the circuit. But let's give them the benefit of the doubt. They might have seen me at one of these conferences. I have no clue. Anyway, so we're starting to network and introduce ourselves. Everything's cool. And at one point, one of them says to me, "I'm just curious, how did you get this gig?" And I said, I don't know. I called. I told them what I speak about. They paid me, and I'm here. And they all looked at me like if I had three heads. "You got paid?" And I'm like, oh, shoot, what did I just do? In my head, I was, oh, no, I have to go apologize to the event planner because I guess I got paid and they didn't. So I said, "You guys didn't?" And they're like, "No, we got our expenses paid, but we didn't get paid." So that was my aha moment. Like the first time I ever heard that speakers did not get paid. I thought it was normal. And so they said, "Well, we want to know how you did that." And I said, "Well," jokingly, because you don't know me yet, but I love to bust people's chops. So I said, "Well, if I tell you, I'm going to have to charge you." And I was, just before I could say, "Just kidding," they're like, "Okay, name your price." And I'm like, what? Hold on a second. I never thought about coaching. Give me a second here to process this. So we exchanged our cards and information. And I said, I'll get back to you on that one. Right. But the funny part for me is that I did not know that speakers did not get paid until that moment. And that's really scary for me, because I think that wherever we've been through, and we were talking about stories, right? Warrior story. You're looking at, we've been through so much in our life. We've paid for it with money, blood, sweat, tears, education, ups and downs, raw stuff that, most people wouldn't even know the skeletons in our closets. But at the end of the day, we've paid for it dearly, right? And in my head is saying, well, why would you give it away for free? Why would you not get paid for your information? It's your own intellectual property, which nobody can tell your story like you do. Nobody can take away the information and the experiences that you've survived and done or learned or lesson learned. You know what? You need to be paid for it. So that's when I created the Business in a Box for public speakers. And I am still the only one in the world that guarantees they'll make $150K in their first year of public speaking, because that's minimum wage.
Awesome. Well, wow. I mean, you got us right to where you are today in such a powerful way. And I always say, the story is what really keeps people focused. So, that story was a great illustration. And I believe that, and we'll talk about that after we take a break here. I want to hear about why you're doing what you're doing today. I kind of understand how you got there now. And then the unique value you provide, which is, again, becoming clear to me, and I'm sure to those that are listening. But what I want to do is take a quick break, hear a little more of Ricky Jean Wright, and it's not the getting there. And we'll be right back, and we'll hear your unique reason, vision, and value as we go forward with Orly Amor and Warrior versus
It's
Zombie.
not a race to see how many people know your name. One day you realize time was worth more than the gold. It's not the getting there. When you get there, you'll know. Funny how wisdom and youth.
All right, Orly. Well,
Always
wow,
two
the
different
energy is so great here. I just love to hear your story. And I know we've got a lot of warriors that still have their story inside them. I never want to die with the music in me, right? I mean, we want to make sure our story, our song is heard. I also do a little bit of singing, and I like to do that, but you never want to have that left when it comes the end of the day, as you say. So tell me, why are you doing what you're doing? What value you see? I mean, I know you're running all over the place. Your background is incredible. Tell us answer those questions for me.
So very, very good question, actually, and so fully charged too. So in the beginning of 2010, I told my business coach, and I believe everybody should have coaches, like I believe in coaching. So I told my business coach that I read a book and I would like to impact the lives of 200 million people around the planet within 10 to 20 years, I said. And he's like, well, you got to put a date on it. And I said, okay, whatever. How about 24th of April, 2025? And he said, why 24th of April? I said, because it's my birthday and we're going to celebrate two things by then, and I'm negotiating the fact that it was 2010. So I'm negotiating the 20 to 15. So I'm meeting him halfway, right? And I always remember a quote by Les Brown, "The how is not your business." And another one is by Sir Richard Branson, who says, if an opportunity knocks, say yes, figure it out later. And I live by those two very, very carefully, because I believe that, right? I mean, and this is afterwards, like I told you, in June of 2010, I met those guys, and all of a sudden another business opened for me, although I was doing very well and still do, traveling and speaking everywhere, even with the pandemic, right? Everything has been just amazing. It opened just more doors, really. And And so to answer your question, I decided to impact the lives of 200 million people. And when people ask me, why 200 million? Why 2 million? Why not, 1 million? Not enough for you? And I said, no, I had to make it a big number. But if you read the book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, there is a story inside of it that Gandhi got 200 million people to follow him on the fight against violence and hunger. And that's the number for me. I just put it out there. That's all it was, right? And I figured that if I help more people get out there and impact more lives, together we will reach that number. It's not an Orly thing. It's a community thing, which is actually one of my core values: community, integrity, right? Those are very big core values for me. And so this is a part of the story. And because I want to impact so many people, I also started other businesses like the Health Wellness Network of Commerce. HWNCC.com is a platform for health and wellness professionals, practitioners, service product providers to network with corporate so that they can impact better people. So a lot of people don't know each other, but they don't know how to connect. And, thank God for Be Connected, right? I mean, this is really where we met. And there you go. This is how it works. You got to belong to more things and meet more people. One of my talks is your network is your net worth, because if you don't make enough money, you don't know enough people. That's really where it boils down to, right? And so in 2015, I was introduced to what's going on about human trafficking. And that was also a very, very deep thing, because you know what I've been through. I might not have been trafficked, but I know what it's like not to have a voice. I know what it's like to be cooped up and not have, screaming with no sound coming out. I know what it's like. And so for me, I got involved, but I was just learning. And in 2020, I heard stories that can make your skin crawl, and about human trafficking. And the people that I was talking to that are doing rescue missions was really what hit home for me. It was so bad that I cried for like 3 weeks. They had nowhere to bring them once they saved them. So I decided to start a foundation called You Are My Light Foundation and Trust. And basically, we are building healing centers for rescued victims of human trafficking, sex and labor slavery, so we can give them back their God-given right to life, freedom, education, and autonomy. And that's basically to give them back what they lost, right? Because they are abducted when they're 10 to 14 or even younger. And then they come out and they're 18, 19, 20, and society has no place for them. And so they keep on exploiting them. And so for me, you're asking me why I'm doing what I'm doing. I mean, I'm a speaker. I'm a business coach for public speakers, but it's so that we can all give to the philanthropic side of things somehow, some way. It's not about us. It's bigger than us. And if we're not making an impact on humanity, then what the heck are we doing? Make sense? I mean, I can look at my little world. I'm having a great time and living a beautiful life, but then what? What about those who can't speak for themselves? That's who I want to be. I want to be the one who has a voice for those who can't.
Wow. I got to tell you, I'm just totally blown away, because we didn't meet until today. Or literally,
right?
I mean, and we're doing it via Zoom, Orly.
Right.
But there is so much, and that's the thing that always has blown me away since the beginning of Be Connected, which is still very early innovator opportunity.
Sure.
When we met, and everybody I have met in that community with that connection generator, it suggested you to me very early, and we became connected. But we're so aligned. My life purpose is to change the world one dream at a time. I didn't say 200 million. I said I change the world one dream at a time. People say, how do you change the world one dream at a time? And I say, because if I can figure your dream and help you get clarity on that, and you can work with it, right, then we'll change the world together, right? So the community thing, the network, the building, everything that we have to work with is such an incredible thing. And I just am so blown away. You also talk about Richard Branson. I call it divine appointment. whenever anybody asks, you talk about your network is your net worth. I say other than my time, my most valuable asset is my network. Did a talk on, and I've done talk on your network is your net worth. So it's just crazy to me how aligned we really are. So let's do this. Let's take a quick break. We're going to come back with what I call the land the plane segment and hear a little bit about, or I want to hear, if we take away anything from this podcast, what will we take away? And we'll be right back with Orly Amor and Warrior versus Zombie.
Funny how wisdom and youth are always two different games. The years flew by so fast, is the common human complaint. The memories in our minds turn to diamonds in our soul. And by the grace of God.
All right.
Wow.
I gotta say, Orly, as I said at the end of the last segment, wow. I mean, we're so aligned. I'm so impressed. I'm so excited about the fact that we're now, building a relationship. We're into each other's network, and I'm so excited that we got a chance to introduce you to our Warrior audience. But as I said before the break, if we take away anything from your story, from what you're doing today, the impact you want to have, what would you want us to take away?
Definitely not to take your story to the grave. Definitely share your story, your wisdom, your talents with the world, whatever they are. And also whatever minute you think your story is, or however minute you think your talents are, I think that, it'll serve someone. In public speaking, I say, hey, if you have a message, somebody's willing to pay for it. That's my tagline. And that's because it's not that people are willing to pay for it. They're willing to pay for you to share your wisdom and your story to be relatable. So I would definitely, that's the one thing I would definitely say, you got to take that and apply it for any business too.
Yeah, and I so agree with that. And when I started this podcast, I said, I don't even care if you have an audience or you think you have an audience right now. You have a story and you can have impact because there's somebody else aligned and walking with you, whether you can see them or not. And it's so powerful, that message to remember. And so many people say, well, why would you want me as a Warrior guest? Because my story is not that unique. And I'm saying, no, everybody here has a unique reason for being on the planet. Everybody here has unique value to add. And if anything were possible, and by the way, I believe everything is possible, anything can be accomplished. And It's just a journey every day. As the theme song of this podcast says, it's not the getting there, it's the journey every day, and we're all on that journey together. So that's very powerful. Well, Orly, I want to let you get back on the road here. I'm so excited that we had this opportunity to talk and share your story, share your vision with our audience. How do we, other than Be Connected? I know we're going to be live. We've been live in the Hive, and we've had some Be Connected folks here, and I love your name because it's easy to find, right? Orly Amor. So they can find you, Orly. If you just type that in, I think there's one other in the Be Connected community. It's one other Orly. So as I recall. But beyond that, how do we stay in touch with you?
So orlyamor.com, and also follow me on any social media. It's I am Orly Amor. So it's I-A-M Orly Amor. And that's on anything, Twitter, Facebook, Orly Amor, everywhere. You can just Google me. You'll find me. I have an amazing event coming up. And if you want to know more, just go to go.orlyamor.com. If you want to take your speaking to the next level, if you ever thought about it, it's a great workshop to join us at. And it's just going to be amazing. So I'm not putting the date on there because there's going to be many. And so just making it evergreen so that the show can go on and you can just follow me everywhere.
Well, I
And
love that.
connect with me, no matter what. Connect with me.
Yeah, connect with you with a K on Be Connected and do that.
That's a
The
good
other thing
idea.
they can do, by the way, just occurred to me, I'm emceeing the summit for the next 2 days, and I believe you're a keynote speaker in that.
I
So,
am. I'm very
so
honored to be keynote speaking that one. Yes.
yes, I'm always honored. I love the summits. So those who want to get a little more insights and hear a little more of you, I can do that over the next two. Are you on Friday or Saturday? I can't recall.
I'm on Saturday. I'm on
Okay.
Saturday at noon Eastern time.
Okay. Well, I'm emceeing on Saturday. I don't remember exactly when, but
That's okay.
around that time. So I definitely will see you again. Well, it's been awesome. And Orly, thank you. I'm so grateful for you sharing with our audience.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored and very, very grateful for this opportunity. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I'm so impressed with your vision. Well, let's do this. Let's land the plane here, as we say, and let's hear the final outro of It's Not the Getting There with Ricky Jean Wright. And we'll be back next Thursday at 11 Central for another episode of Warrior versus Zombie.
It's not the getting there, it's the journey every day. It's not a race to see how many people know your name. One day you realize time was worth more than the gold. It's not the getting there. When you get there, you'll know. One day you realize time was worth more than the gold. It's not the getting there. When you get there, you'll know.